You are looking live right now at Capitol Hill, where today the head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, testified in the House. And the head of the FBI outlined his biggest worry.
Our most immediate concern has been that individuals or small groups will draw some kind of twisted inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks here at home.
All right, so clearly powerful testimony there from the head of the FBI, Ashley. We saw an example this week of a teenager, 18 years old, state of Idaho, wanted to shoot up 21 churches, radicalized, or at least inspired by ISIS.
I think the whole thing is super complicated, and I have a lot to say about this, but I think that the intelligence community is saying that the chatter is higher than it was pre-9/11, one. Two, there's, since the last 14 months, 350 people from the terrorist watch list have come over the border, at least, that we know about. So how many don't we know about? Number two. Number three, when he's warning America that something may happen, there's not, and this was one of the big challenges we had after 9/11, is how do you tell the country to be vigilant without giving them anything?
Where you say it without saying it.
Correct. And that's why when we came up, everyone made fun of the red, orange, and yellow system.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, the duct tape and all of that. But I mean, it's like, how do you tell people to make sure they're seeing and looking out for things? Because a lot of this right now, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, or just to stop you for a second.
I was about to interrupt you.
And you're probably going to tell me something about the border. But I do think that the domestic terrorist efforts that are happening, which are smaller, small ball, which is not like flying planes into buildings, is actually a huge concern. If, one more thing, if you're in Iowa and blow up a Starbucks, what's that going to do to disrupt it? On to you.
Okay. Well, but aren't we always under threat as the United States of America? I'm not saying belittling this at all. I'm saying I don't think there's anything new here. We are always under threat because who we are, how we distribute foreign aid, and what our positions are on democracy worldwide. And so I don't think there's anything new here.
Well, he said
let's be vigilant.
He said events inspired by the Middle East, but what ongoings in the Middle East.
And I love you, but you're...
but this is different.
No, but
this is different because the administration is different.
The threat is a lot higher.
Yeah, the administration is different.
What did you hear there? What did you hear there from Christopher Wray?
Well, I heard one thing that was subtext, which is he is sitting there on Capitol Hill during the funding conversation. What he is talking about is the FBI funding, and he's saying, do not cut a dollar right now, increase our funding because we need more. But Republicans are going to want increased oversight with those increased dollars, and we have seen a hard push by the Biden administration for not allowing increased oversight, whether it's coming to money to Ukraine or any such deal when it comes to spending taxpayer dollars.
But aren't there some Republicans who are undercutting the idea of the FBI in general?
Well, that's because of FISA. That's a different program.
But
millions from the FBI.
Of government against conservative causes. We've seen the FBI, the DOJ. You can do all sorts of alphabet soup where agencies have targeted conservatives when it's come to pro-life centers, when it has come to parents standing up at school board meetings. Yes, Republicans have felt targeted because there has been examples of weaponization. So yes, they want increased oversight, and that should be okay with the FBI as well.
Brad, one of the things that lawmakers are dealing with in Washington right now is this renewal of Section 702 within FISA, which is a post-9/11 thing, essentially being able to warrantless surveillance of foreigners on foreign land. And you would say, oh, why don't you renew that? There's a little bit of an issue right now because there's concerns about what happens when Americans get picked up, and all of this is tied up right now up on Capitol Hill.
So that debate and that concern is not new. It has been a part of FISA from the very beginning. We have this debate and this argument, which is why Congress sunsets it, right, to force the debate every so often to make sure we're utilizing new technologies and new safeguards to protect the privacy of Americans. The Republican problem here in the House at the moment is that Donald Trump came out and said, kill it. And so that's what they did, but they haven't figured out why yet. And so they're trying to figure out a policy solution here to address what the president's concerns are. And I agree there's a lot of privacy activists that have a problem with FISA, but you've got to balance the need to collect actionable intelligence to help us set out these kind of warnings.
He did say kill the bill that was, going through
that's what I mean.
2 days ago.
Yeah,
not
but he didn't
like
get
the general.
Not
correct, but also, which
sorry, I didn't mean to suggest that.
No one is talking about this. The FISA court has extended this for 1 year through April 2025. This is not going to expire this month.
Yeah.
No one realizes this, and no one's talking about it. Obviously, the House is going to vote on it again tomorrow. They're going to a committee tonight to bring it to the floor tomorrow. But it does not expire right now. It's already been granted.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.